Hello dear students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine, staying home and staying safe. This is Nilesh Patil sir and I am recording this lecture for my dear students of 10th cbse. Friends, in today's session, we are going to learn the very first chapter from your geography textbook, Resources and Development. Now in the previous lecture, we have already discussed what resources are and what are the different types of resources. We also talked about resource planning. And in this lecture, we are going to talk about soil as a resource. So children, without wasting our time, let us talk about soil as a resource. But before that, I would like to define resources once again for you people. Friends, before we talk about soil as a resource, I would like to define resources. We have already discussed what resources are before this. Resources are anything that is useful, that satisfies your need. It can be a man-made thing or it can be naturally available things. So to define it, let us consider some conditions. You can see here the definition is given. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided. Now comes the condition. What are the conditions that it should fulfill? Let us try to understand the definition. Provided, that means on condition that it is technologically accessible. See, there is power in running water and we have the technology. Moving the turbines, we can convert this power into electricity, right? The force into electricity. So hydroelectricity is technologically accessible because we have the technology. We can use the force of running water to convert it into electricity. Therefore it is a resource for us. Hydroelectricity, running water, is a resource for us. The second condition is economically it should be feasible. That simply means it should not be too costly that we cannot afford it. Like one can take the example of solar energy. See, though solar energy is pollution free, though solar energy can be generated at the point of use, there are so many what we can say plus points, but still you see it is limited in use. Why is it not widely being used? The reason is it is economically not feasible. Therefore solar energy, which is available, but yet we see it is not being used on a large scale because it is economically not feasible, right? The technology is quite costly. The third thing, the third condition that it should satisfy, anything to be called resource should satisfy, is culturally it should become acceptable. That simply means uh, a particular thing can be called a resource if we are accepting it, if it is acceptable to us. For example, um, like human body is a great resource. You people know that organ transplantation is a reality, but culturally it is not acceptable to kill people for organ transplantation. Are you getting it? So though human body is a resource, culturally it is not acceptable to kill people, right? So you may say it is not culturally acceptable. I gave example in class, like beef is not allowed here in India. So a cow or animals, cattle cannot be seen as a food resource, though they provide milk and other things. So that way it is a resource, but it cannot be looked up as a food resource. On the other hand, fish is definitely a food resource, right? So culturally things, if are acceptable, they can become resources. I hope the definition is quite clear. You people can simply learn this definition. So let us move ahead. Now we will talk about soil as a resource. Now friends, let's talk about soil as a resource. We all know that it's an important natural resource, and all the plants, the vegetation on the earth, and different living organisms, and we humans do depend on soil. Like we consume plants, and plants derive their nutrients from soil. So soil is an important support for life on earth. Now there are different factors that affect soil, the formation of soil. One of them is relief. It simply means whether it is a mountainous area or a plain or a plateau. The second factor is parent rock or bedrock, as we call it. Now what is parent rock or bedrock? The rock that gets weathered to form soil. After that comes climate, whether it is like, now you people might know, I would like to give you example for like how soil formation depends on parent rock. Let me tell you, um, uh, the black cotton soil or regular soil as we call it, it gets formed from the basalt rock. So we see the rock has an important role to play. And after that, climate, you see, according to climate, soil types change. Like in tundra region, that is in the what we can say polar region, we see tundra type of soil is found. So soil depends on, the formation of soil also depends on climate. That proves it. After that comes vegetation. Uh, like we see soil is a combination of a lot many things. There are a lot many things that are that constitute soil. So even vegetation, like plants, leaves and different parts of plants, that also are important constituent of soil. So definitely soil formation is impacted by vegetation and other forms of life, like the animals and all. And time, the most important factor, and I told you that time required for formation of soil is tremendous. Time does have a role in the formation of soil. So let us talk about some other factors that impact the formation of soil. One of them is temperature. After that comes action of running water. So this also cause, there is an important mechanism at work here, that is called withering. So withering takes place due to the actions of these agents of we say nature, forces of nature, temperature, action of running water. After that comes wind and even glaciers. The same thing happens. These we can call them agents, definitely act on soil, rocks, and they definitely speed up the formation of soil. After that comes activities of decomposers. They are also important because decomposers are the ones that convert biotic material into soil. Everything becomes soil. We all know that. After that, chemical and organic changes. You can see the third thing, chemical and organic changes which take place in the soil are also important. You know, different types of soils we see, like red soil, laterite soil, different variants of soil also we come across. The chemical and organic changes are responsible for this difference. Then soil consists of organic and inorganic material, and I already told you everything turns into soil, right? Every human being, every animal, every plant, everything that lives here on earth ultimately turns into soil. So soil is definitely, you may say, composition of different organic and inorganic matters that are there on the earth. Inorganic matters, like you see there are different minerals in soil, so they are inorganic matters. Now friends, you can see here the major soil types. There is a map and you can see classification of soil. There are 6 types that we are going to study now. This is like there are different we can say factors that are responsible for the different types of soils that we come across. So we are going to talk about those factors also, like on what basis do we classify soils. We'll talk about that also, but I would like you people to pay your attention towards this map and try to understand, because I will not be able to come back and show this map again while I explain the type of soil and the different features of the particular soil. But you people can see here, now we will observe one by one the type of soil which is present in different areas. Let us first focus on alluvial soil. Now you can see here alluvial soil, you can see in the index the symbol. Now here you can see it the northern plains, you can see here these all northern plains in the state. Part of this is, you can say, part of Punjab, part of Rajasthan, part of Haryana. This belt you can see the narrow belt through Rajasthan, and then it spreads in the part of Gujarat state. Okay, excluding some area, you can see in the parts of Gujarat state you will find the alluvial soil. It is a belt, you can see the northern plains we call them. This physical unit is what? Northern plains. Now these plains are formed by three major rivers. Let me tell you, you can see here this side in the northeast, these are the Assam plains, and these are formed by river Brahmaputra. The Assam plains are formed by river Brahmaputra. Then you can see in the West Bengal, in the state of, after that here in the state of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, parts of Punjab and Haryana, parts of Rajasthan, this narrow belt, and then after that the state of Gujarat. These all have been formed due to the Himalayan rivers that have deposited the silt in this low lying. It was a low lying area. To the north of it you can see here the Himalayan mountain ranges extend. So to the south there was this low lying area which was filled by the Himalayan rivers with silt and clay and the alluvial soil. So you can see quite extensive plains these are in the northern part of India, in the state of West Bengal, Assam, and then other states I told you. But apart from this, in different parts of India you people can observe this soil. Like in Gujarat, if you see in this coastal area, you can see this is the belt of in the coastal area you can see this type of soil can be found. After that you can see in the eastern coastal plains in the state of Tamil Nadu. After that you can see here this whole, I'm sorry, the cursor is moving, but yeah, you people can observe the color here. Now these are the areas of to the coast, eastern coast. If you can see, these are the areas of delta. These are the deltas formed by the east flowing rivers of the Deccan Plateau like Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Mahanadi. These rivers have formed the deltas, and these deltas, these areas to the coast, these all, they consist of alluvial soil. So you can see this is what is the part of alluvial soil. Now we'll try to understand where does black soil lie. Now people can observe here clearly the black soil. You can see the color, the symbol is, this is the area of Deccan Plateau, and I told you this is the area where we see the basalt rock formation, and black soil is formed by the weathering of basalt rock, and therefore you see in this area you can see, and in different parts also of the Deccan Plateau, Karnataka Plateau, you can see black soil is found. After that, red and yellow soil. Let us see the symbol here. Yeah, large part of India, the state of Odisha, Jharkhand, these are actually the plateaus. You can see parts of West Bengal. After that, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, the regions of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In the south you can see the Tamil Nadu, parts of Karnataka. In all these areas you can see the red and yellow soil is found. After that comes laterite soil. Let us try to see where it is. You can see the color in different parts of India. You can see laterite soil. Actually, you people must understand laterite soil is formed in areas which receive heavy rainfall, and therefore we see in the areas of heavy rainfall, intensive activity of what we can say leaching of uh, iron takes place, and after that this soil is formed. You can see in the parts of Western Ghats this soil can be observed. In whatever the areas in India where you see heavy rainfall takes place, you can see this type of soil is found. After that comes arid soil. The name only tells arid soil is what? Dry soil. So you can see in which part of India there is dryness or arid weather. So that is definitely Rajasthan. So you can see here in Rajasthan, that I can show by bordering you people, but it is easily understood. Here in this part, you will observe arid soil is seen, and after that comes the forest soil. Now the name only tells where forest soil will be found. It is found in the areas where forest exists. So in India, the Himalayan forests, this is the area, western Himalayas. After that you can see the state of Sikkim. These are eastern Himalayas, parts of Arunachal Pradesh. Here you can mostly find the forest soil. Children, you can observe here, I talked about red and yellow soil. You can see here in the many parts of northeastern states, you can see red and yellow soil can be observed. So I want you people to observe this map carefully. Keep in mind this whole picture, because now after this we are going to talk about these different types of soils one by one. So it will be better, and if you people are having textbook, you can keep the map handy. As I tell the areas, you people can mark them or notice them. Now friends, you can see here alluvial soil. Some pictures. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So you people must observe the pictures. Now here on the slide you can see on the picture Khadar and Bhagar is written. Now we'll see what it is, but please try to keep the picture in mind. You can see here, this is a field actually. Alluvial soil, as you all know, is very fertile and it is very useful for agriculture. So you can see here, this is what is a field, very fine soil. You can see this is what is alluvial soil. Okay children, now see here are some features of this soil, alluvial soil. We all know it is widely spread and important soil. Why they are saying it is widely spread? We already know, we have observed the map. Northern plains are made up of alluvial soil, we have already seen. And as I told you, three important Himalayan river systems have deposited this soil. The three river systems are Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Now we don't see the parts of India where the Indus river has deposited its soil, but its tributaries like the Satluj, Ravi, Bias, they have definitely formed plains in Punjab and Haryana, and most of the plains formed by Indus river are in Pakistan. But you can see Ganga plains, quite extensive plains are there in India and the states of western Uttar Pradesh. You can see Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal. After that, Brahmaputra plains, I told you in Assam, you can see Brahmaputra plains. Then these soils also extend in Rajasthan and Gujarat. We know through a narrow corridor, and I showed it to you on the map. After that, in the eastern coastal plains, we already talked about the areas where these soils are found. So you might have a better idea. Eastern coastal plains, particularly the deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, and Krishna, Kaveri, we know that these types of soil, alluvial soil, is found. And I hope it is clear to you people. Let's move ahead. Now friends, let's talk about the features of this soil. What are the features of alluvial soil? See, first thing, it consists of various proportions of sand, silt and clay. After that, as we move inland towards the river valleys, you will see soil particles are somewhat bigger in size. So they are not very fine in the inland areas, right? But in the upper reaches, you will observe near the place of the break of slope, the soils are coarse, that is rough. Um, Such soils are common in the Piedmont plains. Now, what are Piedmont plains? Piedmont simply means the area of foothills, or the area of the foothills of the mountain, you may say. After that, Piedmont areas, there are different names in different parts of India. Duar, that is in the northeastern part of India, the foothills of Himalayas are called Duar. By the way, it is a Hindi word. You can say Dwar, that is door, because these are the areas from where we get access to Bhutan. We call this area as Duar. After that, Chos. These are small seasonal streams in Punjab and Haryana. And Terai. Terai is a marshy land to the foothills of Shivalik. We see there is a marshy area that is called Terai. So such soils you can see in the Piedmont region, that is the areas of foothills. I hope it is clear to you people. Now friends, let's talk about the classification of alluvial soil. Apart from the size of grain, like we talked about the fine soil and coarser soil, we can also describe alluvial soil based on its age. So we have new alluvial soil and old alluvial soil. So we have the new soil which is called khadar, and the old one which is called bhangar. Now let me tell you children, the khadar soil is found in the low areas of the valley, or you can say it is found at the bottom of the valley. Now these areas are flooded every year, and so the new alluvium gets deposited every year afresh, whereas the bhangar soil is found in higher reaches. What exactly happens is layer after layer the soil is deposited, and so above the flood level, 30 meters above the flood level, we can see the old soil, old alluvium, that is bhangar soil. Now the second difference is the new alluvium is finer in texture, whereas the old one is coarser. The third difference is khadar soils are more fertile because these are new. These are replenished every year. The bottom of the valley or the low areas of the valley that we are talking about are flooded every year, and so new alluvium gets deposited every year. So these are more fertile in comparison to these. The coarser bhangar is less fertile. We can see here the coarser bhangar is less fertile. Now let me tell you children, in simple words I will tell you four differences in khadar and bhangar. First thing, khadar is new, the bhangar soil is old. Second difference, khadar soil is finer in texture, the bhangar soil is coarser in texture. Third difference, khadar soil is more fertile, the bhangar is less fertile. And the fourth difference is where it is found. Khadar soil is found in the low areas of the valley. On the other hand, the bhangar soil is found in the areas of 30 meters above flood level. Now there are some other features we can see. You see alluvial soils are very fertile. They are very good for agriculture. You see northern plains. The most important activity that goes on in this area in Punjab, Haryana is what? Agriculture. Because alluvial soils are very fertile. They contain proportion of adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid and lime, which you know is very necessary for plant growth. So what kind of plants can be grown here? We know that sugarcane, paddy, that is rice, wheat and other cereal crops, pulse crops can also be cultivated. Now due to high fertility, I told you already, the areas where alluvial soil is found, you see the land is primarily used for cultivation, and these are the areas of high density of population. Okay. uh, the soil in the drier areas are more alkaline, like you know that in Rajasthan there is a belt of this alluvial soil, so the soils are alkaline and they can be productive only after proper treatment and irrigation. Now friends, let's move on to the next type, black soil. You can see the picture. This soil is also used for agriculture, and we can see here this soil. There are cracks that develop once water evaporates. Now we'll try to see the features. Now let's talk about black soil. As the name tells, it is black in color. This soil is also known as regular soil or black cotton soil. The reason is it is ideal for growing cotton. Children, parent rock material and climate are the two factors that contribute to the formation of black soil. And I already talked about it, that black soil gets formed due to withering of basalt rock. And this rock is found in the Deccan Plateau area. You know that this is the region that is made up of lava flows. After the volcanic eruption, the lava that erupted, after the solidification of that lava, the basalt rock was formed. And due to weathering of this basalt rock, we know that black soil gets formed. The areas where this type of soil is found: Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, it is in Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. These are the regions or area where we see the black soil is found. It is also found in the directions of the slope of Godavari and Krishna valleys. Black soil consists of clayey material, clay like soil it is, and it has a good moisture holding capacity. Just before this slide I showed you the picture in which you could observe the cracks. What happens after the moisture level comes down, or you may say as vaporization takes place, we see cracks develop in this soil because it has good moisture holding capacity, and it is clay in nature. Let me tell you, it consists of soil nutrients such as calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash and lime. These soils are but poor in phosphoric content, and therefore the farmers in this area of Malwa and northern Maharashtra and the areas where cotton is grown need to give additional nutrients. Now I already told about the cracks that develop. We could observe it in the slide before this. These are sticky in nature when wet and difficult to work on unless tilled immediately after the first shower. Now I know that these types, what are the feature, what this feature exactly means, because like here Nasik and to the north of Nasik, if we move, you will see this kind of, you'll observe this kind of soil, and you see here farmers have to till their land immediately after the showers. Otherwise it becomes very what we can say, it becomes difficult to till the land because it is sticky in nature. Okay, so I hope these things are clear to you people. Let's move ahead and talk red and yellow soils. Now children, red soils develop on crystalline igneous rocks. Now you know these are primary rocks. What are igneous rocks? These are primary rocks. Now what does it mean? These are the rocks that get formed due to the solidification of lava. So the areas which receive low rainfall in the eastern and southern parts of the Deccan Plateau, we observed in the map in the state of Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, southern part, that is Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, we observed this type of soil. So crystalline igneous rocks get eroded, get withered, and then this soil is formed. Yellow and red soils are also found in parts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, southern parts of Middle Ganga plain and along the Piedmont zone of the Western Ghat. And I already told you what Piedmont is: foothills. We may say the area at the foothills of Western Ghats. Now let me tell you, these soils develop reddish color. We know these are red soils. Why? Because of diffusion of iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. Okay, now in the hydrated form, that is when mixed with water, these appear yellow. Now friends, let's talk about laterite soil. You can see these pictures show the laterite soil. These look a bit yellowish and reddish in these pictures. Now let us talk about some features of this soil. Now let's talk about laterite soil. They say the name tells the story. Now the name laterite comes from a Latin word later, which simply means brick. Now you might have seen a brick red in color. Why? Due to it is, see, due to the iron content in it. Now laterite soil develops in areas which have high temperature and very heavy rainfall. Now due to heavy rainfall, leaching activity takes place. Now what is leaching? The soluble material, soluble content in the soil gets washed and only iron oxide remains. Now you see, due to this soil gets reddish color. Let me tell you, laterite soil is devoid of microorganisms, decomposers like bacteria. Why? Because of the high temperature. Because of the high temperature, what happens? These microorganisms get destroyed. And because there are no microorganisms, humus content, that is organic matter in this soil, is quite low. Let me tell you, this soil is also suitable for cultivation of several crops, but after using proper doses of manure and fertilizers. Now, in which areas are these soils found? Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and the hilly areas of Odisha and Assam. We can observe it in the map. I would suggest whenever you talk about a particular type of soil, try to observe it on the map that you have. Now, let me tell you, with appropriate soil conservation techniques in the hilly areas of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, this soil is used for growing tea and coffee. Red laterite soils in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala are more suitable for crops like cashew nut. Now let's move ahead. Now you can see the pictures of arid soil. Now we have already discussed using the map that in India, in the state of Rajasthan, one can find arid soils. Now you people can see in the picture, these soils look red and brown in color. Now friends, these soils are sandy in texture, saline in nature. What happens? Because the temperature is very high, the water evaporates, and therefore we see the soil is saline in nature. Common salt is obtained from this soil because the salt content is quite high. Now dry climate, high temperature, evaporation, all these things result in lack of moisture and humus content in the soil. In the lower horizons, now you might wonder what horizon is. Horizon simply means the layer. In lower layers of this soil, one can see kankar. Now kankar is what? Small stones. What happens? Because the calcium content goes on increasing as we go down. So in the lower horizon, you can see kankars. So these kankars restrict the infiltration of water. Okay, and therefore in these areas, we see the water does not infiltrate. Um, but these soils can also be used for agriculture. These can, like in the case of Rajasthan, we have seen that these soils, after proper irrigation, these soils can be cultivated. They can be used for agriculture. So these are the arid soils. Let's move ahead. The next type of soil that we are going to talk about is forest soil, as can be seen in the pictures. And in the map, we have observed that in the areas of western Himalayas and parts of eastern Himalayas, like in the state Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, parts of Arunachal Pradesh, we can see the forest soil. Now let us try to understand the features of this soil. Now let's talk about forest soils. These soils are found in hilly and mountainous areas, like we discussed in the Himalayas, eastern Himalayas, where sufficient rainforests are available. Now friends, the texture of this soil varies according to the mountain environment where they are formed. Like in the valleys, we can see these soils are loamy and silty, which simply means they consist of clay. They are a bit finer. Whereas in the upper slopes we can observe the soil is coarse, rough, with bigger grains. In the snow covered areas of Himalayas, now as one can understand these areas are snow covered, it is obvious that denudation or erosion takes place because of the moving snow, right? So these soils experience denudation, they are acidic with low humus content. As the area is covered by snow, the humus content is absent. Now in lower parts of the valley, particularly on the river terraces, we can see alluvial fans are formed, and the soils in the alluvial fans are quite fertile. Now some of you might have questioned what alluvial fans are. Now see, imagine this is what is the hill, and as the river comes down these hills, what happens, see, abruptly the river deposits a lot of silt it has brought in this region, and a fan shaped area, we can say, if you see from the upper side, you will find this silt gets deposited in a shape of a fan, and such areas are called alluvial fans. So the soil in the alluvial, it is finer, it is alluvial fan, therefore it is what, it is fertile. Let's move ahead. Now friends, the denudation of soil cover. Now what denudation is, it is simply wearing off the surface, the withering of the surface, the erosion of the surface. So the soil on the surface gets eroded or withered and then is washed down due to wind, due to water, and this is what is described as soil erosion. Now the process of soil formation and erosion, let me tell you, it goes on continuously, right? It is natural. We cannot stop it, and we should not stop it. If anything is natural, then it has some utility. But there is a balance between these two things, the denudation, erosion and formation. But as you know, like in other cases, this balance is disturbed sometimes due to human activities like deforestation. That simply means the cutting of forests. After that, overgrazing, construction, mining activities. These human activities create imbalance in this process of erosion and formation of soil. But apart from that, natural forces like wind, glacier and water also lead to soil formation. Sorry, soil erosion. Now we'll try to see in what different ways soil gets eroded. Now friends, here we can see some concepts regarding soil erosion. These are the types of soil erosion, as you can see the title. So first thing is formation of gullies. I will try to see it with the help of picture also. In the end of this presentation, I have included several pictures which will show these features. Sometimes running water cuts through the clay and then it forms deep channels which are called gullies. After that, when the land becomes unfit for cultivation due to formation of gullies, we see if the same process happens over and over and on a large area, we see the area that is formed is called badland because it is no longer cultivable. Now the Chambal badlands are a very good example of this. In Hindi they are called bihars. After that, sheet erosion. Water flows as a sheet over large areas down a slope, and then what happens? The top layer, the top level, top soil is washed away, and therefore it is known as sheet erosion because it takes place on a wide area. After that, the wind activity causes erosion, that is called wind erosion. Now this type of erosion is quite active, or we may say prominent in desert areas of Rajasthan. After that, defective method of farming. Like many times farmers plow in the direction of slope. Now what happens? Because of that, soil becomes loose, right? When you plow in the direction of slope, what happens? The running water can easily carry the top layer of soil, right? So plowing in a wrong way, that is up and down the slope, form channels for the quick flow of water, leading to soil erosion. Now you can easily understand this thing. Like suppose this is what is the slope of land, and if a farmer plows in the same direction like this, what will happen? Definitely water will flow from the upper height to the lower height, and with it it will carry the water, sorry, soil. But suppose if you plow in the opposite direction, or you may say horizontally, what will happen? It will cause barriers to the running water. This kind of slope, if you see, if you plow across the slope, water will not move easily or flow down so quickly, and it will not carry soil with it. Top layer of soil will not get eroded, or if it does get eroded, it will get it will be stopped. So this kind of these are simple things that happen. So if farmers flow in the direction of slope, this also can cause soil erosion. Now let us try to see what are the ways to avoid soil erosion. Now here are the pictures that I talked about. Gully erosion, the deep channels that get formed. Like here you can see this is the direction of the slope, right? And what happens? Because of the water that moves quickly down, gullies get formed. Now these are what the gullies that we are talking about. These are the gullies that we are talking about. Now in this picture it appears quite sunny, but like in the rainy area, rainy season, this activity is quite intense. So down the slope we see water flows, and it creates deep channels which are called gullies. Now here you can see the badlands. See, such a vast area. When gully erosion takes place on a large area, this land simply becomes unfit for cultivation. No agricultural activity can be performed in this badland, in these beherds, right? So this is what is the badland. Now see, River Chambal has formed such badlands, extensive badlands. They have left the area uncultivable. Now this is the type of sheet erosion that we were talking about. Like this vast area, you can see those, because the slope is gentle. You see what happened? Water carries the soil on the top layer in a sheet. Water moves down the slope, and with it carries the soil in the top layer. So that is what is sheet erosion. Now let's talk about soil conservation. If we focus on what causes soil erosion, we will definitely get some idea into like how we can conserve soil. So if plowing in the wrong direction causes soil erosion, plowing along the contour lines can definitely decelerate the flow of water down the slopes. And if it happens, you see, soil will not be eroded to that level. So it will not be easily eroded. This is what is called contour plowing. After that, we can cut out steps, right? You people might have seen step farming or terrace farming. So we can cut out steps on the slope, like in a hilly area. Suppose this is what is the hill. you're going to do the agriculture activity here, you can cut out steps here. So what will happen, this will stop the what we can say erosion of soil down the slope. What will happen, as the water moves down, the soil that gets eroded on one step will get stored here on the next step. So this can also help. This is called terrace cultivation. In western and central Himalayas, we see terrace farming is largely practiced, especially in Assam. We see tea plantations. You might have seen some pictures of tea plantation. I have also included some pictures which we will get to see. After that, we can divide fields into strips, right? Strips of grass can be left to grow between the crops, and this will break the force of wind. Wherever wind is active, we can do what? Strip cropping. That is, between the crop we can leave some area, which we can leave it, and we can you know what, grow some grasses here, and this will definitely help the movement of wind and even water. This method is called strip cropping. I have included one picture of strip cropping as well. After that, planting lines of trees to create shelter also works in the similar way, and it is very effective in the states like Rajasthan, where wind movement is quite prominent. We see rows of trees can be grown. These are called shelter belts. Now these belts contribute significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes. Why? Because the sands are carried by wind over a distance of hundreds of kilometers, right? And so if the wind movement is stopped by these shelter belts, definitely it will stabilize the movement of sand dunes, and it will definitely stop the process of desertification, and in the end soil conservation will be possible. Now this is particularly about the state of Rajasthan. So these are the different ways of soil conservation. Now let us see some pictures. So here is the picture of contour plowing. You can see the slope which is shown with the arrow here, right? And you can see plowing across this slope, or you can say along the contours. Plowing along the contours will definitely help in the you know what, restriction of the movement of water, and in other words, it will stop the soil erosion. Now this is terrace farming. You can see on the hill slopes they have cut out these steps, right? On the hill slopes they have cut out these steps. So what happens when water flows down with soil, the soil gets stored on the next step, right? This way they can you know, avoid the soil erosion. Now these are the shelter belts. Now I can't say that these are the pictures from Rajasthan or western part of India, but these definitely are shelter belts, which you can see the rows of trees that border the fields. So this is an example of shelter belts. Now friends, let's talk about strip cropping. You can see in this picture there are these areas between the crop. You can see these are left bare. You can see such strips can be left so that wind movement will be restricted, right? So this is an example of strip cropping, and that's all for today, friends. I hope you people would like to see this presentation and try to understand the things that are explained. But if there are any issues with it, if you have any doubts, you people can definitely ask me. But do watch this presentation, and if you are watching this last slide, that simply means you have watched till the end, and I must thank you for that. Thank you.